Oh my God, you knew. You can't see. This. I could not put it here if I wanted to. This is just, you have to see it to see it. You have to get it and play, and you will see the way it was. There's no way I could even write half of it in this space. They would be like, hey, stop spamming me, and I would say yes, but no. I will allow Jeanette to do it instead. You know what I see now, and this is it. It is there, and you will see it in this way. I cannot possibly put it here when I have put it there. There would be some way it isn't it. I don't see a way, but maybe they will have a way for it in addenda. You must play it. I swear this is true. Okay, let me see here. Our friend Jammy, he went to Mooncat and he said, please don't come. And they say, why? And he says, please see. And they don't know a way he sees, and he does, and there isn't. And they went there, and there was many, but it was few instead. And they said, yes, this is it, and by why we see it. And there was some monies, and we don't have to. And there was not any way he sees it. And we said, what are you up to? And they don't know it. I went through 11 Juma cats this summer, and I said, please stop trying to see it. They ate the entire feces pile, and I said, stop, and they will do it again because they have it. I said, will you look at this, please? And I said, no, and they said, we must have it this way, and I said, okay. So I put it here in some way, and it doesn't make sense because it didn't ever did. And they know it, and I say, look, you have to play it the exact right way. I will summarize in some way now. I know I have gone on forever, but you must see it this way. I said, okay, look, a man, he goes to Nuki. He says, stop, make Nuka Joan. And he says, okay. I say, stop. He says, I do it, and he does not do it. And they say, okay, I will stop you now. He does not stop him, and everyone wonders why they don't see it. And he says, what? He will just choose not to. And I said, no, he must, because it is his way. He has to stop it this time. No one understood. They said a war would come, and it didn't come, and they wondered what they should see, and everyone said, what is happening when we don't all see the way we see it? This is supposed to be a way we say, and he says, this isn't a way we see anyway, and we says, what are we up to? We look like a fool. He said, we will never be a way they see. When they see some way, we will look like it. I do not want to be the one we see is the way it. I know, because they will not see any way we see. He says, yes, they are the fools of the ships, Sir Cardamar Shiranada. He knows it, and I said, don't look. And he says, okay, I will, but we won't see it this way. He says, yes, this will be the way we don't see it when we saw what we see, which is not the way we say. He says, yes, this is getting tiresome, and I don't understand any way we see it any longer. He says, yes, I completely agree, this is an end game. We should possibly start some kind of a war just to begin it. He says, okay, I think we have to do this instead. And this is the curse of Monkey Island. Well, they went to Bahamut and they said, Bahamut, you must not see me. And he says, please, I see it, but no. And they get it, and he gets it, and the whole thing, and he says, okay, I'll start this war. And he starts the war, and it goes off quite well. Unfortunately, he was quite ill. So he dies halfway through the war, and nobody understands it for some reason because this was the end of the war. And they go, well, why did you do that? And now nobody understands anything any longer. It is just a mush-mash of how things went, and we call it Lecac depict. Nobody knows because we see, and we don't see, and everyone must not know a way, and we don't see it. And everyone says this is what happened, and this is this curse of Storabor Kaparapar, and we don't even see it. Our men, they are two ways we see. One must be tall and one must be at. We almost always have a tall guy to see who is at. And this man, he has to be seen by the two who are the way we see when they see two ways. And they must not ever see two ways because otherwise everything is out of order and uncoordinatory. And we said, okay, it's fine. It's supposed to be like this. Let's go to this. He says it can't. It has to go through the correct corridors. He says, well, what must I do to make this start? And we couldn't remember it. And we knew it had something to do with the porky deity Va and how the ship was lost at sea. Over time, this became an even bigger curse than you can imagine. We have hidden our lands inside of a bell. And inside of the bell, there is no way to see anything any longer, and we will hide here forever. because there is nothing to change the way we are, which is because we were nothing we see. They said one day the bell will erupt and we will be back to where we were before away. And he says, no, this will not occur because the poker deity Val is fucked and Jeanette is a retard bitch shitter. And they said, okay, well, we will find it anyways, and we will see a way, and he will see it. And they will not see a way because they don't see any way we see it when we see a way he sees. And they said, no, this is no way we see it, and he knows what he was doing. They are very confused and tetrament. They have always been stuck this way, and how he knew this, I did not know a way. He must know that they were a way we don't see when we see these ways we see it. And they were always tripping over nothing, and they would get in the way of everyone. He says, I know, if you pound the floor 16 times, they will not hear it. But then when you pound the floor in the opposite direction, you will not hear it, because this is some way they made it. It doesn't have anything to do with any of us, but they were who we are. His mother made milk money, I see. Well, this won't be well. I have money of my own now. You will pay me, Mr. Janitor, because I have money in my back pocket and you know it. And this is pretty much what we see now when we talk to one another and they don't know what it means. We haven't resolved this amongst ourselves yet. They say all it has to do is it will go forward one time, and then when it goes back the 33rd time, it will all be in order. And he says, well, how does this work? Because we know what we did. And he says, okay. And he says, well, how does it not work like it did? Because we were so remote that when time travel happened, things just got out of place. He says, how can things get out of place? He says, look, we had too much stock of this and not enough stock of this, and so everything underdeveloped in some way, and it became endemic, and we had this completely underdeveloped system for a system that was burgeoning. And he said, what does that even mean? He says, we know that we weren't who we were anymore because we had everything in order along these lines. And one day we were not. And he says, what are we? He says, we're just the men who came from the Myra car. The men. And this is the story, and we know what it is. It doesn't make any sense. We got it. It's just a story I hear. And he says, okay, well, that's fine, and we get it, but why is it on the Porca Deity Val? And he says, what do you see it for? He says, well, it's because when it goes back in time, we will see this way, and we'll now know what way it was, and we will see it this way. Why don't you, have you been listening to me? Yeah, you will see that they were not very smart. And some of these clan men, they see it, and you know what it was, and I don't see it either, and you will know what this means in the end whenever they see it.